Good evening. It was a tragic weekend on highways in our region. It's also serving as a reminder of the importance of wearing seatbelts. Now, two separate crashes, one near Maidstone and one in Unity, killed 3 people. Now, in both cases, RCMP say those who died were thrown from the vehicle. The managing partner at a local insurance broker says she's seen the devastating effects of people not wearing seatbelts.
Very surprised that we don't see people wearing seatbelts because it has been a law for a long time, and I think it becomes a very quick and easy habit, and it seems like such an easy way to prevent trouble.
It's been the law since 1977 in Saskatchewan and since 1987 in Alberta for drivers to buckle up. Yet Transport Canada says not wearing seatbelts accounts for 40% of vehicle fatalities.
I know that it's a very simple way to be able to prevent bodily injury, and it seems like such a sad thing when people don't use them.
Transport Alberta says seatbelt users have a 25% lower injury rate than those not using seatbelts in a collision. Well, it's a debate that's been hosted everywhere, from local coffee shops to council chambers. Now, is Lloydminster ready for public transit? The city hopes to find that answer as a new survey has been launched to gauge public interest in the possible project. Bart Pediasic reports.
The hustle and bustle of people catching their morning bus is a common sight in larger cities across Canada. Back here in the border city, officials hope to see something like this one day. But the issue of public transport is an ongoing debate. Mayor Jeff Mulligan says talks first began when a study was commissioned in the late 90s.
It was negative recommendations from consultants who did the work. They said the cost, the subsidy required, the size of the city, the type and nature of the traffic simply wouldn't support it back then. But
times have changed, according to the mayor, and it's a perfect opportunity to revisit the issue.
I don't think it's possible to grow to the next level without public transit. I think it's a responsible thing to do. I think it's the right thing to do. What we have to do is gauge what it looks like. Is it bigger than a bread box or smaller than a bread box? What will it look like? How do we phase it?
And the city wants to hear from residents. This morning, the Public Transport Viability Survey was released. Not only will the survey have an online portion, but summer students will be hitting the streets as well.
So we're going to be in grocery stores, we're going to be at places where people go for medical appointments, we're going to be at public events. We want everybody to participate in the survey so that we get that broad picture of what is the need, what is the community support, and what are the priorities for public transit in Lloydminster.
City staff hope to get as much public feedback as they can before a decision is made. The mayor says if the city decides to go ahead with public transit, it can be quite costly.
Well, you have to make sure that you've got public support, because you're going to have to reprioritize something, and it's going to cost money. It only will recover probably 20 to 25% of the cost. So 75% of the costs have got to come from somewhere else.
But he's confident that if the results are positive, it won't be long until we see some form of public transit on border city streets.
If it's a positive story, we'll see it in the next business year, in the next calendar year. I would be surprised if we didn't see it in 2014.
To complete the survey, or for a full list of where the survey takers will be, visit the city website. The survey wraps up at the end of July. Bart Pediasic, Newcap News.
A scary scene late last night in St. Paul when a black bear was spotted climbing a tree in a residential area. RCMP were notified of the bear just before midnight east of the regional high school. Now, attempts to get the animal to leave were unsuccessful.
It was just about out of town, but unfortunately the bear got caught on a fence, and we were unable to free it. So the animal was starting to injure itself, so we had to put the animal down.
The incident is a reminder for people to take proper precautions, and if you notice a bear in town, to call Fish and Wildlife or your local RCMP.
Bears tend to come into populated areas when they're hungry or if they get lost. So just a reminder to people to keep garbage can lids on and not to leave stuff hanging around in their yards, and if they do see wildlife, to not approach it.
Now, no one was injured and no property was damaged in the incident. B. Fisher Enterprises has noticed a large decrease in bottle donations since the city changed its recycling program. Now the company is looking to find other ways to bring in the bottles. B. Fisher ran the program for 2 decades with the deposit profits going towards supporting adults with developmental disabilities.
But now that we no longer do that service, the person that's doing the recycling is getting that product, that people are putting them in their blue bags, and it's leaving the city. It's not doing any good to any of the local charities.
B. Fisher has started its new program in attempts to bring in some of the money it used to make from donations.
We never really did make a lot of money running the recycling program, but the bottles that came into that program were a donation to the organization, and it's a fairly substantial amount of money that is involved.
The organization has a collection trailer rotating each week between the Fisher Building, Walmart, and Superstore.
This week at Superstore, the trailer was half full. It was a very good week, so if we could fill that trailer every week like that, we'd be very happy.
The company appreciates all the bottles donated and would like to remind you it also has another donation bin located on the west side of their bottle depot.